Hi everybody, my name is Katie. This is episode 16 of the Creating Christmas Island series. Today I'm in front of my second character profile's house, and we are going to be changing it from this little blue cottage into a snow princess ice castle. As we go into it, I'll be doing the outside with my main character, and then I'll switch over so we can do the inside with my snow princess character. Let's go ahead and get started. I started by creating this custom pattern. I knew it was going to go on the simple panels, and I created a color scheme that looked a little bit like palace walls, but I intentionally put some of that darker blue as well as the white and the teals in the color. There are a lot of those different colors that I needed to bring together, and so that's part of what I use this pattern for. So I drop everything down and I tilt up. It's just like this wall of the one pattern. It's just too much. So I decided to put down the new kids tent that we got as the Toy Day update started at the beginning of December. And I really like the way that it gives us that beautiful point. There hasn't been a lot in the game so far to give us that really good sharp point for some of these builds. So it was a really good fit for this particular area. The next step was just to put the lighthouse. That might seem strange, but we use lighthouses a lot when we're doing these perspective builds because it gives us height, and it actually has a really beautiful light, and again, a unique line at the top. It has a little bit of that cone shape, and I really like the way that that looked, so I was able to put it in place. And then I switch over and start putting a path down. I'm just using this in-game path. It is nice and light and icy, and I'm trying to use the in-game paths as much as possible for this build. So I was able to put it in place, and I went ahead and rounded the corners. I do typically, not always, but typically round the corners off when I'm doing paths in unique little chunks of area. I feel as if it just makes it come together. Here in front of the path, I'm using the iron fencing. Again, the stairs, you can see this incline is the darker blue. The iron fencing is that teal blue. That's part of what I was trying to do with that custom pattern, was bring all of those different colors together, because the items in the game run during kind of all the way along that perspective. This that I'm putting down here is the ice pillar. It is a really cool item that they've added into the game. It's a DIY that you get from Snow Boys when you roll them up after the snow sticks on the ground during the winter. And I really like the different colors available, but I'm sticking with just the basic ones. Here there's just a light blue, and then these have been customized to, I think it's called the ice blue pattern. So not too crazy, and just sort of pulling together again some of those colors. These pillars are beautiful at night. I'll show that to you at the very end because we'll do an outdoor walkthrough at night. I went ahead and used this is the box, again, just like I did in the Christmas one before, the box couch, and I've turned it around, and I used the blue foam booth to just bring a little bit of bulk and kind of an outline behind the pillars. And I love the illuminated snowflake. The cute 3 little snowflakes that you can see in front are really beautiful. And I'm popping down the Nova lights that have been customized to blue on top of the column. A really cool thing, if you didn't know, the column DIY, when put together, you can put things on top, and that gives me that icy kind of sharp point. Again, even though it's a star, because the star has a lot of those crystally looking shape, sort of an element to it, I felt like it was a really good choice to make this come together and look icy. I used it's actually the star clock, which is similar looking to the Nova lights, except for it has a clock face, but if you turn it around, it looks like a small Nova light, and that's what's sitting on the pillar on the outside of the house. I'm using the ice partitions and this iron fencing to go around the outside of this castle. It's really important when you're working on any type of perspective build that you create a perimeter around. You don't want people to be able to just walk right up to the items and see how you've layered so many things together, because it breaks the illusion. It's a lot better if you control the way in which they can look at a particular area. So I've added the fence. It kind of brings it together, and I felt like the castle would probably have a fence too. It looks a little bit more like a property to me when it's done this way, so it was a good fit, and it was also a good way to control the way that people can see the area. I'm decorating a little bit around the stairs here. I wanted you to see just the pillars and partitions again in place, and I also used the ice sculpture, but I'm dropping down some of these beautiful blue flowers. That might seem a little bit odd, but I really feel as though the blue flowers are a good way to show that they would probably be frozen, or at least that's the lore that I imagine. Here I put down a pattern, and I really wanted it to shape to a path, so I put the path down, and when it didn't shape, I knew that it needed a little bit of a transparent spot. So I've just flipped into the pattern real quick, and I just take where it's white and I add a couple transparent marks. That way when I put that down onto an existing path, it'll form to the shape of the path. And it's a really good way to bring a design together and make it look really crisp. When you're trying to create a build, it's one of those steps that's pretty fast, but really goes a long way to making a design look more professional. Let's head on in. I'm here with my second character, and we're going to start working on the inside of this snow castle. The first step, I went through the 3 main rooms, and I'm putting the ice floor and the ice wall down. This is a DIY recipe from winter when it's snowing, and it's amazing. I didn't necessarily want this to be a Disney Frozen style theme, but it is definitely influenced heavily. Anytime that you have an ice or snow princess or any type of royalty, obviously it's going to remind us of that movie, and I do love it, so certainly the idea is inspired, but the area in general is its own thing. It's a Christmas island, and so I imagined a kind of beautiful fantasy style area all of its own. Nonetheless, I went ahead and made this main room into a throne room. So I'm just using the ice chair. I went ahead and took that pattern, the same one I used on the panels, and I placed it on the floor. You can move them around like tiles, and just creating a little bit of a base pattern. Don't get too attached to this particular build. I do go back through and change this room entirely. After doing the other 2 rooms, I changed my mind on how I wanted to do this room. So this shows you the first version of the room, and then I moved upstairs to put her bedroom together. I feel as if this room came together extremely quick once I got the basic items in place. I did add, you can see, a little bit of the plants and things so that there would be some contrast. If the whole room was nothing but blue and white, there wouldn't be as much interest, so I thought it was fun to add little pops of green in place, but mostly I stick entirely with the items from the Ice and Snow set. This is actually the aluminum rug that I put on the ground. Here you can see I'm back in the main room. Time for the second choice. So I found these pillars as I was doing one of the other areas, and I had this tree, which is a sculpture from the Snow set as well, and I really wanted to use it again in this main room. I thought it would do a really good way of making it look more grand, and I like the way the pillars added height. So you can see I picked everything up I had before. The den desks were removed because they weren't quite fitting the space, and I think it's because the white was just a different color than I was looking for. And then you can see I'm moving the partitions because I want to be able to see the panels that I have in the back. And then I head downstairs. I've already dropped a bunch of items down here because I knew some of the things that were going to be in this basement room, and I'm creating a little bit of it's not a bar necessarily, it's kind of like an ice cream parlor that is in the basement. I just thought it was a fun type of space. No, it doesn't really make sense, but It didn't matter to me. It's the kind of room that I wanted to create, just a playful, more like a social type of environment for this room. Okay guys, everything is done. Let's take a quick tour and look at what this property is now. We're going to take a look at the outside, both day and night, and we're also going to take a look at the inside. You can see how everything came together. Just a little bit of this walkway, but the real impact is when you switch over and you look up. It changes everything when you can see the perspective behind, and I really feel like this was a beautiful way of seeing a complex ice castle. I liked it. I was really happy with it once it was done. I particularly like the way it looked at night. This is going to be a big surprise, but I decided to turn the lights out. When you turn the lights off with this particular wall and floor, it shines, and even though the lights are out, they create so much light all on their own that the room had this really luminous, beautiful quality that looked fantastic, and I was really excited to go ahead and create, I don't know, a very different sort of look with the lights off. So all three of the rooms have the lights off now. Look at the difference with the lights off. I came back in and I've added music to the rooms, and I did hang a couple more things on the wall, but mostly it's the same space with just the lights turned off. So if you haven't tried to play around with this particular flooring yet, I recommend it. The wall and the floor look really good in these spaces. Here I'm just going to go down to the basement and we'll see the last room of the house before we go look at night. How cool! Doesn't that look amazing with the lights off? I can't get over it. It's just fun to me. And this space, again, it's just meant to be playful. Pretend like it was going to be a popsicle bar. That's what I imagine this kind of space to be, a juice and popsicle bar. That would be just a fun place to come and hang out with your friends. The real magic comes together when you see this place at night. Look at the color. I love how much it glows, and to be honest, it's probably one of my new favorite parts of the Christmas Island, to just come and look at all these colors that shine so beautifully at night. I will definitely be saving the dream address to this place when it is dark outside. I hope you guys found something useful here and that you continue creating in this game. Until next time, have the best Animal Crossing day.